Good morning, everyone. Today is February 7th, and then we're going to check out our part right now today and see how it goes from there. Good. That's great news. Look at that. There's no warp, so that's good news. So it did what it's supposed to do. I'm going to take this thing apart and we're going to test it out on the part and the filament too as well and see if they do fit. So I'll be right back. Okay, so some big issues. The masking tape, if it's really bonded onto the tape very well, which is, here's my mistake, or here's the issue, and it really bonded onto this tape right now. And on top of the two, there was another settings I forgot to remove, was the inside. The hole did very well, and it did fantastic, that's great, but there's a little padding or the brim inside of it. I don't want to use that one, so I think I have to change the settings for the internal brims for the inside of the brims to be removed, but the outside on the edges, we only got is one brim. Let me go focus. But it's good news, that's one brim, so that's good news, because that one, it did held up. But on the Mini Plus, I think this one's really, it did bond it very well onto the plate, but too well. And this is what it looks like from the thin. Look how thin it is on that one build paper, because again, it should have like a good consistent bead on top. Instead, it's just flush all the way down. So I think this printer needs to be calibrated onto the laptop, and I don't think it hasn't been calibrated for a while, or can be calibrated on a different scale. But I think you have to mess around with the settings too as well to actually figure out where the extruder has to end. I think I did research that one last time. I think there was nothing else to actually do that with the extruder or onto the printer, except that it'll do for the settings, heating, and then the nozzle extrusion and how fast it'll go. The speed did very well. This is like 90 millimeters per second. This is just PLA. We don't want to go up too fast, about 150 millimeters per second. I'll show you guys the settings, how you actually modify the settings and what do they mean on the slicer, so that we will continue from there on. So let me struggle with this guy right here, because this is the internal brim inside. I'm gonna fix it, and I'm gonna try to mess around with it. And on top of it as well, I'm gonna do this, scrape off this remaining excess tape. So I have no choice but to use the scraper blade, so that way I can just access into that one. So please be careful. Try to remove it with at least I can go from like I can just grab it at the base fit, just downward, so that way it'll be safer. But again, be careful. Blades. Wear safety gloves. So even though I'm not wearing one too, I should be doing that. Okay. Okay. Well, we hit a little bit of snag. The internal one, that's good news, the circle. But where it fits from the inside those slots, we are not in the right position right now. So this is not correct. So I'm ready to modify my information on the first video to not use that settings, because we need to follow part 2 later on. So that's not good. But again, it is in the right placing, so that's good news. You got to see it from the inside. This is perfect. That one's perfect. This one's perfect, and that one's perfect too as well. It's just how it's spaced out from the inside, from here to here, it compared to this spacing from here to here. We need to make it a little more outward. But luckily we know our placings is at 3, so we got to do up to about 5 spacings. So that way this should bump up a little more of a fraction off. But I think we did it up to about 1/64th, I believe. So that's a little bit small. And I think we can actually do like about either 6 or 7. Let's try 7. Hopefully, like lucky number 7 will be working okay. Or 8 could be in a Navajo way too as well. 8 is our lucky number, or 9. So I think we'll do 8. See how that goes. That way, it should fit inside the slot inside this guy right here. So that's one of the things we have to calibrate it. So I'm gonna go back to my other original video, re-edit that one. Luckily, I didn't upload it right away. Just I need to put like a caution or red sign saying don't use this measurement. We print out that it didn't work out as it should have been. So but yeah, at least we got this one resolved. This was the issue, and luckily I caught it right away. But as we noticed, we wasted a lot of material on this guy as a prototype, and this is a lot, and this is a failure. And the bottom one too as well. This can be washed off with a wire brush and water and soap. This can be rinsed off because it's just a paper-based masking tape, luckily. But the next one I think we'll try is with glue sticks and the base itself. That's it. Don't have to worry about anything else besides the masking tape. I'll check into the calibrations to figure out why is the nozzles really close onto the bed, and it's being printed very close onto it. So there's might be a clearance onto it, or could be a wrong calibration onto it. There's a lot of reasons that it could compress it too much. But look at the design, how it's being well set, and how we did our 360 on the circle instead of having those rough bumps onto it. So that's good news. That's great. And on top of it, this square too as well. Slight edges onto it, but again, not that dangerous. This one too as well, same thing. I think I can get rid of the brim. I don't think we need a brim. Let's go try it out with one with no brim and see how we can go from there. Okay, I'm gonna get to work. Okay then, so now this is part 2 of the video, and again, in the first beginning, we'll show you the why it's like didn't fit right now. And I did explain on the first video, or from the beginning, that the D spacing is a little bit too small off of, I think yesterday we did, I don't remember what was it, 132 or 164th. So we got boosted a little more about 132nd, because that way we'll make everything else evenly as possible. Or actually space out everything else as possible. So I'm going to go to top view, I'm going to view it from here. Actually, there we go, much better. Because that way we'll zoom in just a little bit. There we go. Okay, I'm going to click this part right here. We're going to ungroup it. And we're going to keep doing that every now and then, because again, we need to go up to the red spacing right here. So we're good to go. So I'm going to click over here on the side because everything else is now set to go. And everything else is evenly, or everything else is now centered. But we need to space these guys, these square ones, a little more spacing from here. So we're at 1/32. I'm going to use my keyboard again. And we're just going to go upwards about 3 times. It'll be 1, 2, 3 up to the center of the piece, I believe. I hope so. 1, 2, 3. Got this right now. We're on the 1/32. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully everything else will be even out. 2, 3. We'll double check it just in case if it is on my failed piece. Yeah, it should fit in there, so that's good news. Okay, so now everything else should be as it is. I'm going to select all of it. Control A. I'm going to go over here, group it. There we go. So now everything else should exactly be the same thing right here. So we're good. So now when you look for is the handle. I think I need to refresh this guy again because again, it's from yesterday, so I think I might have logged out. So I'm gonna go refresh it again. Okay, refresh. I'll let that refresh the thing. Okay, so now we actually space this out. We're good to go. Well, actually, we can do while we're waiting for the other one. Let's go export this one right now to STL. Okay. Hopefully it does export it. Oh no, don't tell me my computer's gonna be frozen. Ooh, I hope not. Okay. We'll give it time. If it is, I'll fast forward it on this video. Okay, now it's back to normal. Took longer than I expected. Okay, so it'll say Spool Winder Beginners 1 because we have 2 of them. So we'll do the one with the 1 right here. So I think this one, I'll delete this guy right here, Spool Winders Beginners. So we're gonna delete this guy. If your computer has this feature, you're okay. Okay, now onto the handle. Now onto the handle part. Now we didn't do this right. I forgot to show you how I actually laid this down. So to lay this part down, I know we could do it upward, but what happens if it does fail once it's doing the towers? Because most of the time, If it's standing up as a tower, most of the time it will fail, and there's no padding base. So I'm gonna lay this down right here, and then I'm going to twist this around maybe about a few degrees, maybe right there, maybe. I'll lay this down to the ground to 0. And we're gonna look at straightward in front. See if there's any no gaps. Oh, there's a slight gap right there. Hold on. There's a slight gap onto it. Ah, this is difficult to. There's like a small fraction about. No. Okay, because again, because when I click it out, you can see there's a little small gap onto it. But I don't think it's not gonna be a big deal if we add in our rafts, because that way it'll just lay on top of it. It'll be on the raft, and then we can actually just modify it. So I think it shouldn't be a big deal. Then we're gonna keep this together right here, so that way both of them will be printing together at the same time, center in the bed. Okay, so hopefully this does work. I hope. No, it's not giving me the options to lay it flat, so that's not good. But it's okay, it's okay. But I think we'll just use rafts for this guy, because that way we can just remove this one out and it should be clean on top of it, so we're okay. So we're gonna export this one right now, STL, and then we're gonna delete the original one. Yeah, from 1. Delete this guy right here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so everything else should be as it is, and our settings should be different from here. So I'm gonna go into this guy. So this is one from yesterday. I'm gonna delete this guy right here. Oh yes, right. So this one, I'm not using the settings on this computer. I have a laptop that I could connect to the printer, and that one has a good settings onto that one, so I'm good to go on that one. It's already been precise. I just need to modify it just a little more for the interior, so I can get rid of it from the inside. So this is what it looks like for the inside. Oops, I should have never done that. Okay, go for the inside. There we go. So if I rotate from the inside of it, this one, it shouldn't have no base padding inside of it, so we'll try that out. And I'm going to try it with no rafts from there. So hopefully by today, it should print it without it. I'm probably looking at the simulation. I'll probably screenshot it to show you what it looks like. And then we'll go from there. And also I need to change the settings too as well. I noticed that yeah, this is the extruder type and the print mode. Just those two are on there. But I'll probably look online to see how to eliminate that nozzle that's touching the base of it, and it's just printing it into a thin layer base. I'm not sure if that's okay or if that's not okay, because again, it makes a lot of noise on the printer. I noticed that there's a lot of noise that's coming off of the motors that keeps having it sounds like a gear grinding onto it, but it's not. It's basically the nozzle skimming on top of the nozzles here, or that it's going too fast onto it. So hopefully the travel speed, I will turn it down to about 100 or 90 millimeters per second, so it'll be under travel speed. I'll show you that one, how you actually modify these settings later on in the future. But right now, let's go print this guy out. Okay, I'll see you there. Well, we'll see how it goes today. So. Welcome back, and the good news is we did it fantastic. So this is the second try right now with no brim from the inside. I can see from the inside there's no the brim inside, so I made it 0, just a little bit. It's kind of extruded outward, but again, should be no problem. We can actually remove that one. But the good news is this one right here, or actually these two, can now fit. We'll get this in the center, slide it in. Voila! Because now everything else should fit inside, so that's good news. Right now I'm printing another one, but this time I'm gonna print one with the handle to see if it'll fit from the inside of this the slot, because that's one thing we need to do that one next. Hopefully it will fit through inside that one, but I think it should. It should fit through in there. This one too as well. This one fits onto this larger spool. Same thing. So now we have everything else ready to go. We're just waiting for the other parts to be printed, but it's gonna be a long process. So this video will be cut a little more here and there, and some addition to see what we can do. And after that, we'll have our end result. Okay, as you can hear from the background, my printer is printing. We're good to go. All right, then. So I'll be right back after this. Okay then, so welcome back on the filament spool winder. So now everything else is good to go. And also too as well, in case I forgot to mention too as well, on your spool, on your mini bot, so I'll explain that later on. So on this right now, we did fantastic. So everything else fits fantastic from this one right here, from the handle, from the guide, and the little spool in here. So that one is a little spool guide. So everything else fits, everything else is good. It's working and functioning right now. Same thing with this one too as well, same side. So now you get two of these right here. You 3D print them. You get one of this right here. So you want 3D print one. There should be a tight fit inside of it. So kind of like use wherever you can on your muscles to actually get a little more push inside of it. If not, have an adult to actually help you out. Okay. And next one too as well, test these two right here, but they should fit just perfectly right now. So, all right then. So now I have my hot glue gun here. So be advised, kind of like not touch the tip of the hot glue gun because it will heat up and melt the plastic. I recommend that one. Or you can actually use any type of glue. I would use is the Gorilla Glue or any super glue to actually glue onto any type of surface. Either using a plyboard, or by any chance, if you can, if you're available to actually buy another product, will be a clear transparent plexiglass, or a board, or actually a cardboard too as well. A cardboard will be a good one too as well. Just layer on top by top, about 4 layers, and make sure you get the right size too as well, about 2 feet length, so that way you actually have enough to actually cut through it, make more of the sturdy base, and that way you can actually use it for your winding system. Okay, so now this one should be heating up by now. I'm not sure. There you go. Yeah, it's heating up. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is adjusting our length of it. So we have is the larger spool that we have. It's gonna be going from here. Then we have the smaller spool. So I'm gonna make it spaced out evenly right here. Luckily we do have a 2-foot board right here. So we're gonna use 2 foot. I'm gonna bring this smaller spool back about 4 inches. So this one should, let's see here, about 24 inches, for about 20 inches length of your work project. So about 1 inch off right here for the edge, and 4 inches off from here. So about 20 inches, or yeah, 20 inches or 19 inches if you want to make this size right here, this distance. So we're good to go. Okay. The next one is applying these two right here. So we're just gonna apply this right here on top to actually fix it. Know where our location's at. Right there, perfect. Same thing with this side right here as well. We're gonna apply this guy right here. That will know where to actually put it. Okay, in the center. Okay, now we're only hot gluing. Let's see if I can take this down. Well, actually, we're just hot gluing the main base of it only. That's it, not this spool, because we want this to freely move around. So I'm gonna show you. So you get your hot glue, tip this over, then we apply hot glue around this area. So there we go. Then I think I'm gonna remove this excess right here. I think this is a little bit too much blob. Yeah, it's cooled down a bit too much. There we go. Now I got a mess on my hand, but it's okay. It's not that hot because it's not hot enough yet till it actually oozes around. Apply a little pressure onto it, just a little bit, just to cool down, and that's it. So, and it shouldn't be easy to, or should easily to remove it. This one only, that's it. If it keeps grabbing this one right here, that means you need to apply more hot glue again, one more time with one more trigger. Just pull it, and that should cover the entire base of it. But right now, it is now sturdy enough to actually hold itself onto it. Apply this onto here, and that's it. So now you should have this one spooling around, and this is your spool system. So you just rotate it with your handle. There we go, and that's it. So now we're gonna do the same thing on this side right here. Bring this one, tip it over, then go from the base, and then rotate it around. Okay, then we're gonna apply this down here. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the center, because again, we're just spooling one side to another one. So if it's like a little bit offset onto the base of it, we're not worried about that one. Just as long everything else is moving, functioning, and should work as it should be. Once we're done with it, I'm gonna unplug my hot glue gun. We're good to go. Good. This one should be cooled down right now, and this one should be easy for me to remove. It should like remove these excess materials too as well over time, because that way you can actually break it apart, or it'll break these little edges, or kind of like make some abrasion every now and then, so it'll be loose enough. Okay, then we apply this one, and this one should be removed too as well. Yay, we got this ready to go. So good, that's great news. We did it fantastic. Congratulations on making your larger spool system. Now we're gonna test this out to actually transfer your spool from here onto this side. So I'm gonna grab a example. Actually, I do have one right now. Go grab it right now. It's right in front of me. Okay, well, I'm trying to get this one right here. Just be advised about your spool too as well, but I forgot to explain that one. So on your spool on your printer, if you have a new spool winder, and if you do your first test, I suggest do this one first, the spool winder, just in case. If you do have a bigger spool with you and a small spool, because that way, because I noticed that this small spool does take a lot, and it took a lot of these spools from here off to print them out. So kind of give you a warning about that, or lessen the infill downward to about 10%, because that way it still be stronger anyway. So we're just doing like rotational piece only, that's it, because we're not doing that very heavy duty right now. So just give you a heads up on that one. If you do run out of spool, be advised trying to do a different method. If I can, I'll show you right now onto that one process. So we're gonna transfer it onto our new spool, which is our orange one. We go from here. We go from there. Okay. Either way works. Either I can go this way. So I have to be careful. So I think this one will go underneath it from here. So I have to rotate this way. But I'm used to going this way, so that's fine. That's like, that's me actually. So that's just like, I can't control myself, like, you know, which way goes which. I don't usually go to the left, but I usually go to the right. So just a thing. Just a thought. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is go over here. Then inside our spool, you should have these holes inside of it. So what I'm gonna do is add in our spool from here, insert it, and hold on to this one. And then what I'm gonna do is now hold on to this guy, or apply tape to it right here too as well. So you can actually use a tape. Whoops. See, this is what happened. Go grab that spool, because right now this guy is a little bit springy. It can pull back onto you, so kind of be aware of that. So if you can't hold on to it, that's okay. Just grab a tape. Any type of tape works, either duct tape, masking tape. Those ones should work to actually prevent that one from happening. Okay, then what we're gonna do is do it by hand. We're gonna spool it manually to get it going. Also too as well, this spool cannot is not really straight, and we don't have a different spool to actually guide it going up and down to actually make it perfectly straight as possible. So just be advised of that one. So just do as much as you can. Now all we can do is wind it around. And yeah, you got to play around with it every now and then, because again, this guy will actually move around, but again, should be fine from the small spool. And after that, we can just keep winding all the way through. And there you go. So this is the older function that they used before. That was the cassette player. So this is the function way to actually rotate your spools. So that's one thing. So yeah, and this will take longer because you have to fill this up all the way through to about 200, or actually, so your weight should look like about 0.2 kilograms or 0.5 pounds. So luckily we do have a scale here, or until it reach all the way up on top, as you can see from here. That way you know it's ready to go. And after that, yeah, you can take your own time from this one and go from here. And if you want to ask yourself, what about can I attach a drill onto it? We can do that one too as well. I'll show you that on TinkerCAD. we got to make this one a little more stronger than the other one, so that way it'll spool itself too as well. So that way we can actually get more increasing speed. But you don't want to make it too fast, because again, if you do make it too fast, your spool will actually overlap another spool, and that's gonna be causing problem or issues along the way when you're printing. Because if your spool get caught onto another spool and it's like intertwined like this, if it does overlap it, and this one with my pinky is the main spool that it'll print but doesn't overlap it, and if it gets snagged on top of it or gets stuck underneath it, then your print will fail and you will don't have a complete printing failure. So especially to do this one right now, this does take a little bit more time too as well, so take patience. I can feel it. It's right, almost it's now filling up. There we go. It's getting there. It's just that it takes a lot of time for it and patience as well, but it is getting there every now and then, because that's good news. A little bit easier with the pencil way too as well, but that'll be for small cassette tapes, because if your parents actually done or actually listened to cassette tapes, my mom used to tell me that, you know, when they were trying to like play cassette tapes, it takes a while for them to rewind it through the machine, or that they forget to rewind it on their own. So what they can do is that they actually have a pencil that actually does fit inside that one, the gear in the slot, insert it, and the hexagonal shape actually grabs onto the teeth inside of it, and then they just spin around like they're just cool and acting like they're like, you know, cool or whatever they. Now once they're done, it's just an easier way for them to actually listen to music quicker, and that way it'll be easier for them to actually listen to other music without winding them or forgetting to wind it as well. So okay, and it feels like it's getting there, so that's good news. So this is what it looks like here, but the winding, so that's good news. This one too as well, I suggest this one just a little more a bump upward, about, I think I remember we put in 2 inches, so about 2.20 or 3 inches up if we can, and extend this one too as well, just a little more, about 2 inches, because now you got a bigger, longer handle. This one too as well, I think we have to make it a little more bigger if possible, or actually add another a cylinder on top of it, so that way it'll be easier for us to actually grab it and just rotate it the size of this one right here. So this could be like a different design, but again, it depends on your handle design. That's your choice too as well. It's getting there, it's getting there. There we go, it's almost there, yeah. So let me go stop right here. I'm gonna show you the spool, and there you go. See, it's getting there. So now it's getting there. It does take time, yeah, but this is the only way to actually try it out. Whoops. And kind of be careful too as well. This one does get loose, so I think the inside of the column should be a little more bigger, so that's a different design, because again, we're just coming up with this design to actually see how well you can actually manage it, but also it's to actually manage your material usage, because this is a perfect size, because this whole filament used to be full, but we use up almost the entire spool for this for these components. So but right now, since we got it winding, and if you got this big one to wind it to the smaller one, that's good news, because that way you have limited supplies of spools that you can try to as well. So, and you actually try this one too as well with other machineries if you're doing traveling, or that if you're doing another printer, but if you are using the same spools for that printer, what happens if you need the other printer to be printed out right away without having the extra spool? Well, you got to do the same method too as well. Get this bigger spool, wind it onto the small one, because that way you'll be prepared if you do have multiple printers right away. And I'm just talking to as well to keep you guys occupied at the same time. So, but there we go. Yeah, this is what it looks like on the spool. So we're almost getting there. You guys can see the color of the orange is getting up. There we go. This is a good. And I think I have other spools too as well, so that way I can actually use those ones, and then trying to like put the other less spools onto this one, so that way it'll be ready to go. It's getting there. It's getting there. So that's good news. Now it's going upward, as you can see from the spool onto the, it went up. But can you actually apply this one with the Arduino projects? Yes, we can. And that's another project too as well. If you want to check out the Arduino course, if you want, I am going to that direction for Arduino electronics. If you guys want to try that out, and we're going to see how we can actually make the using the motors onto this 3D printing part. It does have a lot more stronger shaft onto the motor. The speed is okay too as well. It's kind of, I think it's a decent speed, but I think we can actually do some more of the engineering knowledge to actually figure out what type of gear teeth we can actually use for that 3D printer, and that way we can actually 3D print more gears for this guy, and we can actually use the motor controllers, and then we can actually apply it onto this right here. That'll be until next time. But right now, I think that one is a little more challenging for younger minds because they have to understand the Arduino system. For adults, and also like for younger adults too as well, like middle school to high schools, they have to understand the electronics, which is not that bad. But as for younger kids, I would suggest that you will teach them a little more carefully and slowly, I would say, because right now the electronics is a little more advanced area, probably later on in the future if they can. So there we go, it's getting there, slowly and steady. Okay, we're gonna stop right here because we need to see our weight if it's at 0.5. So if you want to look for the size of the weight, I know it's already full, yes, but if it says 0.5, we need to, like, if you want to be like an engineered concept to actually be more precise about that, that's your choice too as well. So right now I do have it as an electronic scale, so you can actually find this at secondhand stores, either at Goodwill's, maybe at Best Buy, Big Lots, maybe some of that other second-hand store, because these ones, they sell these ones for a cheaper price. So I'm gonna apply this right here. It should equal up to about 0.5. Right now we're at 12 ounces, so I'm gonna use my unit. So about 0.2 kilograms, 341 grams. I'm gonna check online to see how much is that. What was our grams again? It was 341 grams. Okay, we went over our limit, but it's okay. So that's good news. So right now, this is good enough. So it'll be 341 grams. Let me do about 350 grams to make it better, because that way we have a accurate dimension. So I think it's like, let's see here. So let's do about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I think we're almost running over our limit. 9, 10. There we go. Let's see here. It should equal to about either 350 now. Yay! Close enough. 353. So that's good news. So now I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna bring this a little more tension backwards, a little more. There we go. I'm gonna bring my clippers. So if you looked over my next video about using different types of tools, make sure you look into that video and kind of be careful. But again, these are just simple basic tools. So we have is the side clippers with nose pliers and side clippers right here, so with the sharp tip. So, and all we're gonna do is just grab the wire. Let's grab this right here. Got it. And let this guy go because that will spring back to its place. Insert it in this hole. There we go. Then if we want to clean this part right here too as well, all we can do is just nip it, and we're gonna bend it inside of it, and that's it. Same thing. Just gonna nip it. I'm gonna save this one because again, I do recycle those plastic. And I'm gonna do is pull this right here, bend it a little more, because you guys see it's kind of bending. Bring it from the inside if I can. There we go. And there we go. So yeah, you got your own spool ready to go for 3D printing. This is ready to go for the MakerBot. And go from there. All right then. So another thing too as well, I'll show you this one right here, the spool, since I'm gonna take it out and it's almost about to go out. Two at the same time. I'm gonna nip the sides of it, because that way I can actually unload it next time when I plug in my laptop. So right here, this is the reason why this is kind of important to actually be careful on your spool. So this one's about 0.34, actually 0.3 grams, and our weight for it is about 0.2 kilograms. Actually, 0.3 kilograms. This one right now is about 0.2 kilograms. So we went over the limit, so this should be a little bit smaller than this one. But on your spool that we had on this MakerBot, we noticed that on the changes right here, the spool has almost gotten to the bottom right here. We almost had like a little bit less materials. Kind of be careful now and later on in the future. Again, like I have another video about material usage. I do have another video for that one, but that's a little more complicated because I do explain a little more thoroughly about material usage on different machines. So like I said, I did some calculation to convert it from 0.2 kilograms, that's our weight, which is 0.5 pounds. Then we use the weight scale, we use the grams, we transfer those two or convert it from grams to kilograms. And like I said, this one was 350 grams. Went online to convert it to kilograms, it went to 0.3, maybe 0.35, so it might be in the kilogram. So but again, we kind of like move the spaces 300 spaces to our right. If it's like 0.2 kilograms, we're going to space out to 3 places, it'll become 200 kilograms right away. But again, we went over our limit, but that's good news. It's okay. So now we have a lot more filament. We use the grams off of that one. We use our paper, which is our filament paper, which you'll find out on our main website to check it out, and also check out the video. We do have to calculate it, do some mathematics, and that's important. The reason why, to actually use the weight for materials to see how many we used up, because again, this is just for beginners, for kids. As you can see, this one's just a little more bigger, more bulkier, and a lot more of the sturdiness, as we can say. And also it's for entertainment purposes too as well, because again, you guys are interested to actually try to wind your bigger spool onto the smaller spool, and that's great news. But if you are enthusiast about 3D printing, I would recommend checking out the other video for that, because you need to be aware of your material usage, how many materials you're using, and that how much you're gonna be using over time later on in the future. So kind of be aware of that one. And also too as well, this is how much we actually spooled it down, so that's good news. It did went down a little more, so that's good news, but I think this is like enough for this to be onto the next spool. So, and also too as well, as we noticed it onto here, we have about this much excess left onto the spool. So what do we do with the remaining spool if we ran out of the color, which is the gray color? Instead we have the orange color. That will be in another video next time in the future, so that will be we'll explain down later on. But I'm gonna check this one right here. Let's see how many weight do we have on this guy right here. We have about 131 grams, so about 1.3 kilograms left to go on this one. So, but again, that's too small for that one for any large projects like this one right here. It will be used for different projects later on in the future, so hopefully we'll check that out. And after that, we'll go from there. Okay. So that's all my the video. That's all the video for today on TinkerCAD. So this is a good video right now for part 1 and part 2. Hopefully you like the part 1, and be aware of the part 1 video. I did some measurements a little bit wrong. So if you do find that warning onto it, do not use that measurement. Kind of check out the part 2 video. Make sure you bump it up a few more of it. Follow my instructions on the video onto it. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it is clear enough for you to make some changes, and that way you got to continue from there. And not that, kind of be careful too as well. We have to be careful also too as well. I forgot one more thing. Maybe in the later on future videos, I will show you how to manage and also do some prototype testing, pre-test first, because again, we wasted this much material right here. and it didn't fit on inside of it, as you can see. So you can actually see the spacings. Oh, actually, you can go bring it over here and right there. So hopefully you do this. You see the spacings inside of it, of the spool. So let me bring this guy a little more to the right. There we go. So as you can see from the spool from the inside, you notice that there's a lot more spacing difference onto it. So if one side's kind of smaller, one side's a bit bigger, because again, we didn't actually see, or actually we don't even know what our spacing is from the inside the spool. So we just wasted a lot of material on this guy, and we had to use up all the materials on those the exact materials onto it. But later on in the future, I am making another video for how to do pre-tests later on in the future, and how you use those pre-tests on your printer and your future projects without failures and wasting materials. Okay, so now then, hopefully you enjoyed the video of it, part one, part two. Give it a like, subscribe. If you have any questions, there's an email down below, or have your comments onto our main webpage to actually contact us if you have any like suggestions or any project idea. And also too as well, this will be the last one for our TinkerCAD. So we are moving our videos onto our main website. Check those out. I suggest those you become a member, and that we will continue on to actually make more creative ideas how to use the MakerBot Mini Plus, MakerBot Mini, or actually MakerBot Replicator Plus, and also too as well we do have is the other MakerBot printers too as well, which is the Z18, which is a lot more bigger printer, and we have is the Sketch printers too as well. That one's coming up later in the future. That's another version for the upgraded version of the Mini Replicator Plus. And also too as well, if you are toward the advanced machinery, which is the MakerBot method, we will show you down a little more on how you actually use some settings, features, and also how to actually use the printer itself. So thank you for watching this videos. Thank you for subscribing and liking this video. And after that, subscribe us for more contents like this. Okay, have a good day. Bye.